transition into death. You feel your eyes begin to get heavy. You fall deeper and deeper into a trance. Your body becomes weightless as your heart begins to slow down. Do not be afraid. You are at rest. You fall deeper and deeper. Your soul begins to separate from your body. You begin to feel the warmth of fire. This is the arrival to your final destination. Welcome to eternal damnation. You are now entering hell.
Okay, we'll just cut that off there.
That was rather abrupt.
That was abrupt, but there's no easier way to do that.
Oh, okay. I guess you don't want to lube them up a little bit first before you just right on in.
You know what? That's seemingly unnecessary.
Okay, let's go with that. As you can see, our dais is quite a little light tonight. I got no clever reason. I'm sure our producer does. Yeah, this isn't Hollywood Squares here.
It's a little known fact, but February 25th is International Butt Stuff Day. Most of our dais is participating.
I did get that memo.
Yeah.
I assumed it was another thing about TPS report, so I kind of skipped it. But I suppose now I should have seen it. So
yeah, no. Now I'm not going to say who on the show is a pitcher and who is a catcher. We
don't judge. We don't judge.
And it's not for me to say. I'm not in the room with them. So
yeah, so what's up, fuckers? Original spooky guide. I don't even know what the fuck night it is. Sunday night of some variety or other, or whatever. And so it's just me and Mr. This guy. So
gotta make time.
Gotta make good time. That's important.
Yes.
So how are you this Black History Month?
I can't complain. It's been a good Black History Month for me.
For you?
At least until today when I watched another movie and it was not so good, which we'll talk about.
It's funny because I actually thought, I was like, okay, you know what? To make my ancestors proud, let me watch some more Black horror. Jordan Peele really has cornered the market because I'm really not seeing a lot in the ways of young Black filmmakers that are really making their mark on the horror scene. Granted, the horror scene isn't doing so steadily these days to begin with, so it's not really saying much. But so before we get into that, what are you drinking?
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I've got something that's going to make you laugh your ass off later.
Oh, no.
I just got a Facebook friend suggestion, and it is someone on your side of things. Wow, that's some bad tan.
Okay.
That's bad. I hope that's self-tan. That is a color of skin that just world shouldn't be. Anyway,
okay. We're bringing that right back into Black History Month. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Blackface, got it. Okay. Yes.
Perfect. So I am drinking this. This is a blueberry old fashioned.
Oh. That doesn't look like a blueberry old fashioned.
It's
kind of looks like something I left in the toilet this morning.
Really? Then you need to see a doctor.
Maybe.
I need to reevaluate. I might have needed more of the blueberry syrup in this. I don't know. At the end of the day, it just tastes like whiskey.
Did you use fresh blueberries? I mean,
no, I used so the company that makes grenadine. There's if you're at the grocery store liquor store, there's one grenadine syrup out there.
Yes.
They have expanded. They now have a strawberry syrup, a blueberry syrup, and a peach syrup.
That doesn't necessarily bode well.
No, you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. So.
Well, I'm not doing anything nearly as extravagant, unfortunately. You know what I'm doing? And this actually is to, for those of you, if you know, I'm doing milk and cookies. I got some milk and cookies. And if you don't know, go watch Bernie Mac. It's
Yes,
probably his best known bit, and it's fucking fantastic. And yeah,
I would also like to do it before we get to what you're up to. I would like to do a shout out to our new Twitch follower, because we do not have many on Twitch, but we have a handful of followers on Twitch, and I would like to do a shout out to Big Stinky Geezer.
That's the best name I've ever heard in my life. I like that. You know, speaking of which, I know that we had been discussing, and we'd like to hear from you guys. I know Instagram is kind of, warm and cold. So, I mean, we thought about actually dumping Twitch and going live on Instagram instead. So please give us some feedback if you'd like to see us on Instagram, as opposed to just Facebook and YouTube. As far as which platform is hot, it just varies from week to week. So, but if that's something that you would like to see us do, speak up.
Yeah, it's in my thought initially is if you're already on Instagram, you're probably on Facebook too, and so you're probably getting your alerts.
Was it the Zucker? Is there a name for the Zuckerberg-iverse?
Yeah,
I know it's
it is.
But Zuckerverse? I don't know.
No, what is it? Oh, you're killing me, because it's Meta.
No, I know that. The official name
metaverse.
is the metaverse. I get that.
Yeah.
But there has to be like a catchy name, like the Zuckerverse or Fuckiverse, some shit like that. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, that'll sit and percolate for a while. All right. So you were talking about watching horror. What have you been watching?
Okay, good. Very, very nice. All right. So basically,
I'm not a professional.
I went through and I was trying to find something I hadn't seen before, and I wanted to go in kind of blind, because I mean the reality is I've seen a whole lot of classic movies, and I've seen all the Jordan Peele stuff. So I was like, let me just find something I don't know anything about, and I went to Tubi.
I'll tell you what, I personally can't do Tubi, and so I get people that recommend stuff on Tubi and such all the time. I'm spoiled. I gotta say, the internet and such has spoiled me. I can't do commercials. I don't care if it's free. I don't have the patience to sit for commercials anymore. That's what like modern technology has done to me. I don't want fucking commercials,
and I appreciate that. I can still put up with them a little bit. I mean, it's I free service. You know what? It's free. I'll take this. I'll take your. I think there were 4 commercials over the span of an hour and a half, maybe 5. It wasn't too bad. The movie I watched was called Guess Who. They couldn't have gone with a more generic name in the world. It's also really awkward because, not awkward, but in the 60s, there was a very popular social commentary movie called Guess Who's Coming to Dinner?
Yes.
Starring Sidney Poitier.
The band Guess Who, but yes.
Yeah, so Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? So that's Sidney Poitier and Katharine Hepburn, and not Katharine, and what's his name? Spencer Tracy. And so that was a very big hit. And then years later, 2004, they did a similar movie, reversed, where a black girl brings her white boyfriend to the family. And that with Bernie Mac was the father, Ashton Kutcher was yeah, and that was called Guess Who. So this movie used the same title.
Okay. And that the Milk and Cookies makes a nice segue into the Bernie Mac movie. So yes.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a bad title. Didn't even 100% apply. The whole movie is about mummerers or mummerers, and apparently this is so here's the thing. This is a tradition in England and Ireland, and I guess it's been brought over to Newfoundland, and we'll see if it ever catches on. It was big in the 1800s. It's like Halloween at Christmas, and it's called mummering. Okay. And what you do is you go and you put on a mask, a costume, and you knock on your friends' doors, or even you just go in and you ask the owners riddles, and until they solve your riddle, they give you food and wine and stuff like that. And that's the tradition of mummering.
Okay. I can see this going 1,000 different ways to go wrong, but
And I think that's why it stopped, because I read something about there was like a murder that took place while somebody let somebody in their home with a mask on and
Yes, this
killed the
always
family.
is going to bode well. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, but that's the tradition, mummering, and that's what this movie is about. A rich guy, a guy is bringing his girlfriend to meet his family for the first time, his fiance, and it starts off with a ridiculous premise where she is attacked by someone in a costume in a bathroom at a gas station, and then she's still like, "Oh, I'm fine. Let's just go to your family's house." She brushes
Because
it off like it was.
obviously that's what you do after you've been mugged or jumped. Yeah,
Yeah, I
of
mean,
course. That's just okay.
anyway, so I will give it this. It got really good in the middle. It did do at one point. It did a really good job of creating some tension, like what the fuck is going on. Um, there are a couple, several kills throughout the movie. They're not particularly exciting. They just exist. And you basically, a guy in a mummerer costume goes up to people, asks them riddles, and then, he kills them, whether they get the answer right or not.
Okay.
And then so anyway, it ends up being like a social commentary thing. Again, it was a really good idea. The end was just awful. They pull a twist that was just stupid.
That's one thing that bothers me about modern horror movies, unfortunately, is there always has to be a twist now. And if
Always.
and if not, then there has to be social commentary. And it's like not every movie needs to be, have to have a message. Sometimes we just want to watch a horror movie. Doesn't have to relate to society currently. I don't know. That's just always been a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm right there with you. I was, like I said, I thought something interesting would come of it, and nothing did. So,
That kind of happened with me too. Because Black History Month, I'm always trying to seek out new stuff, and unfortunately, I am like the absolute curmudgeon because 99.9% of the time, whatever it is, I'm going to hate it. And unfortunately, I think one of the things modern horror suffers from, other than the lack of original ideas, is we're getting those original ideas out there, but not understanding how to flesh those out. Maybe a great idea doesn't necessarily make a movie. And this tended to be the case with what I watched. There was Horror Noir, which we'll talk about in a bit, but I recommend that all the time. It is an amazing documentary about Black horror, which is something a lot until Jordan Peele like reinvented stuff. It's like that's not something you really heard about since Blaxploitation, let's be honest. Or
yeah.
Vampire in Brooklyn, cheesy 80s, 90s shit that nobody watched. But they did a sequel to that, and I was like, okay, it's a sequel to Horror Noir, fantastic. I thought maybe, but no, it was an anthology first of all, which we'll get to. It was supposed to be 6 stories. I made it 2 stories and tapped out. And that disappointed me because I was like, okay, you know what? I would love for there to be something new to go, ooh, no. I mean, we'll get into it, but yeah, I was not pleased. So if y'all have a recommendation for a good Black horror movie, by all means.
Yeah, it's it's leap year. We still get an extra day to catch up if we didn't find anything good.
And spend that extra day just watching Black horror movies. Okay, I'm in.
That's exactly what we're gonna do, all of us.
And
That's
eat
your
my
homework
milk and
assignment,
cookies.
everybody. Go do that.
Yeah, it was milk and cookies. But yes, as far as spooky, to make everything, I wonder if mumming could be a thing at spooky. Going to people, different hotel room doors, knock, knock, knock. You pose a riddle.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no.
No, bad things.
Well, it is a matter of inviting bad things. Let's just say that.
This is true. This is absolutely true. But with Spooky actually has announced some guests.
Yes, they have. They have announced a plethora of guests.
Plethora. That's a good word. I still love that word. And I gotta say, it's very interesting. What I've seen them do. I mean, the Blair Witch reunion, absolutely here for that. Now, who is this? Jeff Brockton, who's a Ghostface stunt actor. What do we know about Jeff Brockton? Anything?
Sorry, I have a dog in the background barking.
Yeah, she's trying to do the mummer thing. Yeah,
That's what she's doing. Well, she's
yeah.
stopping the mummers, maybe.
Maybe she's stopping the
You know,
mummers.
real quick before I get into this, I will say part of the reason I watched this movie was because at the Spooky Empire Film Festival 2 years ago, not for the 20th anniversary, but the one before that,
Mhm.
there was a short on mummer, the same thing,
Interesting. Okay.
or the same concept anyway. And so and of all the movies I saw at the film festival, that was the best one. And it would be honestly, it wasn't even close. And I
Sure.
was like, okay, this makes sense. There's so many different ways you could take this and being a horror movie. So when I saw that it was tied in with this movie, Guess Who, I'm like, all right, let me give this a shot. This would be
Yeah.
cool. And again, I still think the idea, if more people understood what mummering is or was, I think it could. I think it has to invade more of the world before they start making movies about it. But
I think the right people have to get a hold of it. I mean, Wendigos tried so hard to be a thing
yeah, they did.
until there was so much that it actually created folk horror. So it's a matter of the right people getting hold of it. Is it related to mumble rap? That's a good question.
No, Justin. Okay, listen to this. This is amusing. Mummering was a tradition. It was basically kind of like Halloween on Christmas in England and Ireland and some of the Canadian provinces. It moved over to there, and people would go to their friends' houses dressed up in a costume. They'd knock on the door, or they would just walk in, and they would start asking the homeowner riddles. And until they got the riddle right, they would have to either guess who the person is, or they have to get the riddle right, and then you could take off the mask. And until you got the riddle right, or you guessed who it was, you had to give this stranger in your home,
so basically,
food, you had to give
Ghostface.
him snacks, you had to give him wine. That's what mummering is.
So maybe that's what Ghostface was trying to do all along.
Perhaps if Drew Barrymore offered him a Chardonnay,
pop,
offered him a little Sutter home.
Yeah,
it's the 90s. I got to go back to that.
Yeah, or the yellowtail. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But so he's a stunt actor, and he's got a couple credits to his name. But Ghostface in Scream 3 is his
big claim to fame.
Big horror credit. He did one of the Godzilla movies too. I don't remember which one.
Okay, my camera's being ridiculous again.
That's fine.
I blame Butt Stuff Day. But
happy Butt Stuff Day, everyone.
Yes, happy Butt Stuff Day. Then we see a Friday the 13th, 2009 guest. Apparently, there's a whole reunion of the remake of Friday the 13th. They pretty much got everybody from that cast, more or less.
Which is interesting because then I don't say this mean-spirited, but it is interesting that it's like no one made it real big. They're all working actors. If you look at these actors and their IMDb's and their Wikipedias, they've all been in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
But there's no one that I really recognize.
Well, I think that tends to be a case with a lot of like horror niche actors. There are the big names, which are, select few, but the majority of them, you see them in like 20 million different horror movies, but that's all you ever see them in. Is that where
before we move off of mummering, Justin brought up a great point. The lyric, tell scary ghost stories and the glories of Christmas. Telling ghost stories at Christmas is something I always wondered about. Like, where the hell does that come from? It's possible. I don't know, but
no, that sounds like a 3 a.m. deep dive Reddit.
Yeah, there you go. So, all right, good point. Good point there.
That's a very interesting point. All right, so we've got America Olivo. I'm probably butchering.
Sure. Who played Amanda?
Yeah. Jonathan Sadowski, who played Wade. Travis Van Winkle played Trent. Willa Ford, who I actually have heard of. Willa Ford as Chelsea.
Willa Ford was in Playboy, I believe.
I don't think that's why I heard of her.
Well, I think that's people know her because she was like, I think she kind of tried to go the naked scream queen route at one point.
Okay.
Possibly, I don't know.
Amanda Rigetti, Whitney, Arlen Escaparda. I'm Butch. Oh God, I'm so
good enough. Escaparda, Lawrence.
Yes, and Aaron Yu as Chewie. Now
Aaron Yu as Chewie.
Yeah, and I've actually seen, because we've been keeping an eye on a number of the spooky threads in like different areas. They'll probably be adding more. So apparently they're looking to really stack the remake of Friday the 13th, which I personally didn't see, but
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, but
I'm not.
there's an audience out there. Clearly, I think it made money.
Yeah, and well, there was a lot of comments, and a lot of people were super excited about it. So that good for
Well,
them.
blueberry old fashioned to all of you. Cheers.
Yeah, yeah. And then I think the biggest one is because I've been seeing all over TikTok Lisa Frankenstein. Everyone's going on about Lisa Frankenstein.
Well, let's hold on. Don't jump. Don't jump.
Don't jump.
We have the Children of the Corn reunion.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So that is Courtney Gaines, who played Malachi. John Franklin is Isaac. John Philbin is Amos, and the director Fritz Kirsch.
And I believe, if I remember correctly, I think Courtney Gaines has been before. I don't.
You know
remember
what? I've never seen Children of the Corn.
Really?
Never seen it.
Outlander.
Yeah. What was the one with Christopher Reeve? That's not Children of the Corn. That's
Village of the Damned.
Village of the Damned.
Yes.
I get those two mixed up.
It's creepy kids, Yeah.
Yeah, creepy kid movies. I mean, that was a trend for a while.
It was. I say it was a trope for a while. Absolutely.
We had Children of the Corn. We had Village of the Damned. We had Pet Cemetery.
Mm-hmm. And that was what was it? The Bad Son or the Bad Stepson or something like that. That time too.
The Good Son.
One of those.
Macaulay Culkin.
Yes.
Yeah, The Good Son with Elijah Wood and Macaulay Culkin.
Yes. So that was a big thing around then. But yeah, so with those of you that are Stephen King fans, there you go. Children of the Corn. Awesome. So there can be people screaming Outlander all weekend. If you know, you know. And I'm sorry.
I don't know. I guess I need to see the movie.
You're not missing much. I mean, honestly, if you like Stephen King stuff, it's a typical Stephen King 80s movie. It's not terrible, but pretty much run,
I'm not, his movies are, I think there's more misses in the Stephen King catalog than there are hits. I think Carrie's amazing.
I put it around the Christine, A lot of people liked it, so.
Was Stephen King the Hitcher?
I want to say yes.
Okay, just curious.
Hey, your dog says yes.
My dog says yes.
Yes. But yeah, so Lisa Frankenstein, I've been hearing all about this movie. I mean, the goth community is all a Twitter about it.
Yeah, Catherine Newton. This is a genuinely big name. So this was, I mean, this is a good headliner for Spooky, especially because this is one, I mean, honest to God, if we were 20 years younger, this would be a really big deal.
Yeah.
I think that's
one of the things which, like, we really have a hard time being in touch with the modern generation because we're old fucks. So
yeah, but this is like, if you're a horror fan and you're in your teens or maybe even 20s, I think she's, this is a big name. I think a lot of people did like Lisa Frankenstein. Lisa Frankenstein was compared a lot to Edward Scissorhands.
Really?
Yeah, but it's like she's making a boyfriend.
Ah, okay. Because I figured somewhere around the lines of Monster High meets Frankenhooker. That's what I was thinking.
I read basically the reviews I've read. They all refer it back to Edward Scissorhands, and most of them are basically like, as long as he's on the scene in the scene, it's good. When he goes away and they kind of have to fill up the other stuff, they're like, it loses something.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Aside from that, she's in the new Ant-Man movie.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to play Stature, so they double booking on Lisa Frank.
Let's see. Yeah, so they're okay. Apparently, yeah, that's basically what I was thinking. Like,
could be.
I admittedly don't know a lot about it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so. But yeah, she's like I said, she's also basically she's a Marvel property now. And they have been and here's the thing.
Good on her.
Well, it's funny. So, if you saw Ant-Man, he had a daughter in that. And she aged during the Avengers, what was the big ones with Thanos?
Infinity
Endgame.
War?
After Endgame. Yeah. Yeah, in Endgame, she shows up and she's older. And I hate, this is going to sound nasty as hell. I think they wanted a more attractive actress, which is why they recast the role.
Ah.
The blip. Yeah, after the blip. But she survived it. So they have another they recast her, and she basically plays the younger, like her character is called Stature eventually. And she can also grow really big or really small. And so what they've been doing in the MCU is they've been very, not subtly, but they've been casting the next generation, like in the Scarlet Witch and Vision.
Like the Descendants with Disney. Yeah, understood.
Well, but they've been putting them all in separate movies. So, we've had, and mainly it's been in the Marvel TV shows because we've had
Avengers, exactly.
Yeah, so we've had basically they have cast everybody for the next generation of Avengers, which are called Young Avengers. And at some point, I think they will do either a TV show or a movie for them. And so she's a Marvel property now. She's going to have, so long as Marvel movies and stuff keep getting made. Yeah, so that's why it's like she's going to be a big deal, because even if she's not real big yet, she's 10 years from now when she's starting her own Marvel movie or the next Avengers, Young Avengers, she's definitely something. So it's
I do find that really interesting, because it's especially to get such a coveted role, not just for now, but to secure yourself in the future. That's got to be some Illuminati level shit there. I wonder if she I don't know, massacred a couple babies or something for that. That has to be a highly coveted position.
You know what? It's also somewhat of a gamble, because once you sign up, you're signed up. Like you're stuck. You're stuck in a Marvel role once you get it. Like you're not allowed to leave.
Yeah, I suppose it's not the security that it once was.
Well, it's binding. Yeah, I mean, there's some people are saying the Marvel movies are not what they once were. They're rebooting it. Maybe I think they're going to rebound. I think they'll be big again. I know they kind of fell off a little bit in the Marvels in the last couple movies, because there's just too much out.
That was bound to happen though, because they were just hit after hit after hit after hit.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. People burned out. Yeah. And hi Molly and hi Mo. Hello.
And case in point, right here. No, I stopped watching them for a while because I just got burned the fuck out.
Yeah, I haven't watched the last couple TV series. I haven't watched the last couple movies. So I mean, one of these days I'll just
marathon all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get a six pack and I'll just sit there in my underwear. Everyone, please picture that.
That's a picture right there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Blueberry old fashioned. Okay.
That's a thing. All right. One of the things that Spooky teased in one of the threads that I saw. Yeah. See, Mo was like, I even stopped watching. No, absolutely. It was just, after a while, it just got to be too much. Absolutely. But
Molly, thank you for your support.
That's right. But Spooky teased, and this is interesting. Now, I'm curious as to what you guys think it means. The gathering of the Jasons. So does that mean they're going like a bunch of cosplayers? Because I know Spookala did something like that. It was the largest, like the Guinness World Record of Jasons or something like that. Or does this
not Jasons, Ghostface.
Oh, Ghostface.
Yes.
So do you think it's that, or do you think it's something like they're going to get as many actors that have played Jason as possible?
I think it's going to be a fan thing, because if you remember when they did this when the first time they did Camp Spooky 2 years ago or 3 years, however long it's been.
Yeah,
they did the Jason costume contest.
Yeah.
And it was, you had, it's sexy Jason. And we had old school Jason. Yeah, we had this Jason and that Jason. It was good. It was, it was fun to watch.
NES Jason was still pretty fucking cool.
So I think it's either going to be, I think what they're going to do is they're either going to do another, I think they'll do just another Jason costume contest, like maybe try to make it bigger than it was last time. Or, they may try to get a big Jason photo shoot together. I think I don't think that's really going to work at Spooky, because this is like the fun con. This is the party con, but it's not the big attendance con.
I know a lot of people have expressed curiosity. I don't want to disinterest maybe, because there haven't really been a lot of big name announcements. Now we know that historically in spring, Spooky is more or less for the fans show. This is, the dysfunctional family reunion. We all get to catch up with each other, because in October, we always miss each other because there's too much shit going on, just like we all did this last October. Nobody got to see anybody because everything was fucking just level 11.
Dear God, I didn't get to see shit this year.
Yeah, I didn't either. And so this is the time where you get to actually catch up with all your friends. I mean, Camp Spooky, we're going to be back as the camp counselors. So, maybe that's why they're going, not as light-handed, but more lighter-handed than other cons. Let's just say.
Well, I hate to brag, but I was an award winner for the pool float contest last year. So
Mm.
that was me.
So,
That was
so
me.
people should be like smoozing up to you, huh?
That's right. I mean, if
'Cause
you
you
want
do
to
have pull.
hang out with a winner, you
Yeah,
hang out with me.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I if I need to make other shirts, hit me up, talk to me. I've gotten a bit better with my Cricut machine since then.
Mo, I have a Hawaiian shirt I need to see if you want because it's way big on me. I may fit you,
He's
and it's like
calling you
kind of
fat, is what he's saying.
it's what I'm saying. But no, it's kind of like a psychedelic Cthulhu shirt. So if you're interested, I'm gonna bring it with me to the next show. All right, that's enough side chat. Enough side chat.
But and the other thing that Spooky did is, and this is actually really interesting, for the Charleston show, which is actually going to be happening on our producer's birthday. It'd be his birthday weekend. In South Carolina, they're offering 20% off if you get tickets.
For the record, this is the Charleston.
Only old people would know that.
That's right. Yeah, 20% off of tickets at Charleston. And on the Charleston note, they haven't announced guests yet, so they're basically, I guess, just trying to, do a little fishing out there. How does 50 feel, Rob? I'm 46. Fuck you.
I can tell you exactly how it feels because I'm 55, or I will be 55.
Yeah,
actually,
you're 54. Don't age yourself.
I gotta say that I was saying at Spooky, I will be 55. Yeah. So,
yeah, but no,
AARP discounts there
for the Charleston show, August 23rd and 4th. They are offering 20% off on the website tomorrow, Monday. If you're watching this today, if you're watching this tomorrow, it's time travel. They haven't announced guests, but for the for the first picture or one of the early ads, they did have a picture of Pinhead.
Yeah, so we're thinking possibly either Doug Bradley or a Hellraiser reunion, which we've seen done. So
yeah, so it could be something I mean, it's Hellraiser related.
Yeah,
Hellraiser themed.
See, now what would be really cool is if we had Clive Barker.
Hellraiser flavored.
Hellraiser flavored by Clive Barker. Okay.
Yeah, no, Clive would be a great guest. Clive would be a fantastic.
Has he been a Spooky once before? No, twice.
No,
before.
Twice.
Twice before.
He was at Tampa. That was the last time he was at Tampa, and then there was another time he was at and I hate to say it, when he was at the Wyndham.
Yes.
I did not realize he was having the medical issues that he was having.
A lot of us didn't realize how serious it was until.
And when I saw him walking in the hall, I was just like, "Fuck!"
Yeah. But the guy apparently is he's still doing it. So you know what? Yeah. All right.
Good for him. People have dismissed him for a while, but he's still chugging.
The guy's a fucking icon.
No, it's not cancer. It's something else. It's.
I thought it was like a like MS sort of thing.
Hold on. You fill time. I'm going to look up what Clive.
Fill time. Okay. But it's just like Spooky, we're looking at other conventions and such. It's actually really interesting because we saw at MegaCon. MegaCon actually got a number of horror guests, which I thought was kind of very foreboding because it seems that they're going after the horror crowd as well. They brought in the Soska sisters. They brought in Juliette Lewis. They brought Keith David, but they also brought in Eli Roth.
Okay, real quick. Apparently, Clive Dentist went into. I'm not even going to fuck this. I'm not even going to say it. It'll freak people out. Toxic shock syndrome, and he went into a coma from it.
Shit. It's interesting because toxic shock syndrome, that's the shit that they put on tampon boxes. So it has to make you wonder, because if you leave a tampon in too long, you run the risk of toxic shock syndrome. So I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm just saying. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
But going from there back to Eli Roth, looks like Spookala also has Eli Roth now.
Yep.
So he's making the rounds. Interesting. Very
good on him. He's got the I don't know if you guys saw the Borderlands trailer, because he's directing the Borderlands movie. I don't know if it's his first non-horror movie, but I mean, to me, it screams Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, it's just like, it's from the soundtrack to the, I mean, it always was a kind of, it always had the very sarcastic.
It was kind of a darker video game. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was, but I mean, that movie is completely Guardians. So
yeah,
I like that they have Kate Blanchett in it. I mean, I'm giving it credit that the character she's playing was supposed to be a much younger woman, so it was kind of cool that they cast someone in their 50s to for that role that probably would have originally would not have even been considered for anyone over the 30.
Yeah, and that's Mo and Justin said that that's the vibe they got. So now it'll be.
Well, I think they put ELO behind it on the soundtrack. I mean,
I'm not mad at this trend.
No, I'm sure it's going to be. I'm sure it'll be good. I mean, it's one of those properties that if they take good care of it, they can get a lot of sequels out of this one if they do a good job.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis is in it, and you know what? Gina Gershon has a cameo in it too. She plays Mad Moxie, which was like the Mad Moxie was like the cosplay character for women, about 10 years ago.
And Gina Gershon, come on.
Yeah, no, Gina Gershon,
how
absolutely.
Straight you are, yeah.
I did it.
Women,
I would let her have sex with me.
You would let her have sex with you.
I'm going to let her know that. Just
yes. Okay. Yeah,
Gina Gershon, you're allowed to have sex with me.
All right. Moving on from that, we've been keeping an eye on Mad Monster Party too, because Charleston is going to be the sister convention to Mad Monster Party, and North Carolina, South Carolina, they're kind of hand in hand. And it caused a lot of controversy when Kevin Spacey was announced. I mean, it was on TMZ, a Hollywood Reporter. It was all over the place. We thought it was an absolutely brilliant move, and a lot of people didn't realize Kevin Spacey actually was acquitted of all those charges, and actually had Elton John as a witness, which, yeah. One of the things we will say, and I don't know if we actually have a copy of it or not.
Nope.
Probably not. Okay. If you go on Mad Monster's Instagram page, Kevin Spacey actually recorded a video after the convention, and we were watching the entire, and it was fucking brilliant. First of all, you had him, like there was the background from Seven where they had John Doe and Brad Pitt, and there was someone actually brought a box, so you had the picture of the head in the box with Kevin Spacey. And that's just fucking brilliant. And then I think, oh God, I didn't see The Usual Suspects one, but what was the other one? There was another photo op that he did. Help me out here. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Well, he did John Doe and he did Kaiser Soze. Those were his two ops.
Okay. I thought there was another one. Anyway, but it was really, and even afterwards, I got to say, we've seen guests, thank people after the con, blah, blah, blah. Kevin takes it to a whole new level. He was excited, and he even had some of the trinkets people actually made for him or brought him and he was showing it off, and he absolutely loved what he was. No, it wasn't midnight. I would have loved if it was midnight. Oh my God. And especially if he had the mustache, the Jim Williams. Yeah. But if you look at Mad Monster Party's Instagram, the video that Kevin Spacey did after Mad Monster Party, fantastic. And he even teased that he's going to be there in cahoots doing something possibly in the near future, because he even said, "Oh, we collective, we have an announcement." So it's just like,
well, you know what? They've got another show in Arizona, right?
That's a good question. Possibly.
Mad Monster Party has a second show somewhere else in the country. I can't remember where, but
you're right. It is Arizona. Now that I think about it, yes, you're right.
So I know we have millions of subscribers, particularly in the Arizona
area. Yes, in the Southwest.
So yeah, for those of you in the Southwest United States, keep an eye out for your announcements, because Kevin Spacey might be coming to a horror convention near you.
And if he's on the circuit, man, and I gotta say, it's just everything I saw over the whole weekend, he really took, and we've been doing this shit for decades. He really took shit to the next level.
Yeah.
And just absolutely just nothing but love for the guy. And
look, I know this is a public relations tour for him, essentially. But he did.
I'm just Justin's comment.
Yeah, no, lock up your husband.
You know what? Justin, say what you want, but he was actually acquitted. So, just saying.
Anyway, he's done it really well. He is generating a lot of really goodwill. People are having great experiences, meeting him.
That's a good way to put it. A lot of goodwill, because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And he's genuinely grateful for all the fan interaction, which is absolutely amazing. I'm glad that he didn't run into any bullshit that easily could have gone wrong.
Yeah, there. It's funny. There was in Mad Monster, there was a lot of people protesting on social media, but when it came time to actually go there, no one did a goddamn thing.
Well, and that's usually how it goes, though. People bitch online, as they say, keyboard warriors, whatever.
Yeah.
But I do find it very interesting that there actually was a group, and actually another cast member on the dais actually found it. There was a group boycotting, keep real monsters away from Mad Monster Party or something like that. 69 members.
69.
But here's the thing. And the thing I'm curious about is okay, so how many of those people do you think joined just to watch the bullshit and weren't really actually boycotting?
We know at least one did.
Exactly. And I'm sure there is at least a dozen more. I was tempted to. But I thought that was absolutely hilarious. But I mean, that's and that's a scenario where, was it bad press is still, good press, or whatever the saying is.
Yeah, no, that is definitely true to some extent. So.
Okay, but yeah, he was absolutely delightful, though. 68 did. That's actually very funny. I think so. Like I said, I think, and I, like I said this before, the people that were going to bitch about something like that is people that weren't going to go to Mad Monster Party to begin with. So who the fuck cares? Yeah. That's just like the same people that bitch about Spooky are the people that aren't planning on going to begin with. So, bye. Yeah. So now, what is this about HorrorCon Scotland? What the fuck is this about?
Okay, so here's the thing. Now, as you all know, I'm a huge personality on TikTok. I'm a huge. I am ginormously huge on TikTok. I'm really, really big on TikTok. But I got randomly followed by a HorrorCon Scotland. That's the name of the person who runs it, and is what it is. It is a horror convention in Scotland. They travel a little bit. Justin, I'll have you know, my mom is only one of them. Thank you. My wife and son are the other two. But no, I got followed by them, and I checked them out, and I'm like, you know what? What the hell? Let me see what's going on at HorrorCon Scotland. And it's actually a different kind of show. It's more of like a one-day thing over there, and they travel it to different smaller cities. But it's basically like a Spooky Empire one-day show. Like they have a burlesque show. There's a costume contest. There's a couple guests. They have like a couple of the Winnie the Pooh people from Blood and Honey.
Yes.
And a lot of other, it's a lot of more homegrown stuff, Scottish horror, whatever is out there. So, hey, if you want to go to HorrorCon Scotland, let me know. I'll hook you up with a discounted ticket. I can get you upwards of 10% off.
Ooh, so he's an influencer now. Okay.
That's right.
Big influencer.
That's right.
All right. Well, I remember a con having concern about Joffrey. Why would anyone have concerns about Joffrey from Game of Thrones? That was a character he played. Anyway.
Maybe they were worried he was going to get shot.
Maybe. I was hired just for him, and everyone was so nice. Yeah, no, the guy himself is absolute darling. I mean, I've seen him do like speaking engagements over in England, and super fucking nice guy. So, welcome to the Influencer Club. See, and Molly just welcomed you to the Influencer Club. That's fucking awesome. All right. Oh, now, do you happen to have this? Because
I do. This I have.
Okay. We saw this,
and
we're going to put this out there, and whoever wrote this, if someone can secure this and bring this to Spooky, we will do whatever we can to secure what kind of area would we put for it? Not like a shrine, but maybe like a shrine.
Shrine is fair. Shrine is fair.
Yeah. But check this out. Now, does this remind you of anyone that we know?
Well, of course it does. The person we know posted it.
Well, no, he didn't. Someone posted it about him, but
it is the PD 2x4 or the PD sheet of wood.
Yeah, the PD board.
The PD board.
we were making an official request for the PD board to make it to Spooky. So if you want to pay homage to the almighty of Spooky, some people see Virgin Mary in a piece of toast. Other people see PD in a piece of wood.
Yeah. So, all right. There you
This is
go.
our official plea to have that brought to Spooky.
PD plywood.
I like that. PD plywood. That's good.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm looking here. The passing of Cameron. Who is this?
So I can't admit, I'll confess, didn't know the guy, but apparently there was a
Oh,
Spooky
yes,
family
yes, yes,
member.
yes. Another one of the Spooky family, unfortunately.
Yeah, Cameron Hammond. They've posted about him on the Spooky pages, so go ahead and take a look at that. If you were a friend, if you were a friend of his, our condolences.
Yeah, apparently he was like all over Spooky, but I guess our paths never crossed for whatever reason. But he was obviously very well loved, and he's a friend to some of you guys. And just this whole Spooky people dying shit is just gotta fucking stop, or we're gonna take the PD plywood to you.
That's right.
Yeah,
or we just pray to the PD plywood. Maybe it'll stop.
Maybe that could be a thing. I like that. Bring an offering to the PD plywood. I like that. All right. And then, oh yes, Freak Show Unlimited.
Next time Matt is back, Matt will probably speak on this a little bit more, but Freak Show is going under some big changes.
Yes, congratulations to them for getting out of Florida, because
they left Florida. So quick round of applause for getting the hell out of Florida.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's anytime someone escapes Florida, we have nothing but praise.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they're going to start a line of coffee, a couple lines, and again we'll let Matt talk about that next time he's on. But for people who wanted more
keep
coffee,
an eye on Freak Show Unlimited, the Facebook page. Keep an eye on there because they've got a lot of good stuff coming out. So,
yes, indeed.
All right. So now let's get into Black History Horror Month. Black History Month. The verbiage. I got to figure out the exact verbiage.
Black Horror History Month. That's
Black Horror History. Okay.
So real quick, before we begin, talk about horror noir again, just for anyone who is not familiar with it, because if you're not familiar with black horror, this is the course that you watch this before you start.
Yeah, and what a lot of people tend to forget is that we already have so much black horror that's integrated with everything else. Like I mentioned before, Vampire in Brooklyn, Blade, Serpent in the Rainbow. There's a number of these movies that have been integrated already, but they do belong to a little sub niche of their own. And there's something called Horror Noir, and it's on Shudder, and it's a documentary that goes all the way back to the 30s. From God, what's the movie I'm thinking of? Not White Zombie. The name escapes me now, but even like classic movies that depicted, black people and how that has developed through the decades. It's really interesting. They talk to a number of horror icons, and it's really, really interesting. And I thought the second part, and I mentioned this earlier, the second part, unfortunately, was an anthology, which I thought actually might be interesting. But the difficult thing with anthologies is you need to take a good idea and have it fleshed out just in 45 minutes. That's a really tough line to walk, unfortunately, because you can have a great idea and obviously too much is thrown at it, or one little piece that's just drawn out way too fucking long.
Here, quick question is, for the sequel, was it different directors or was it all one?
It was different directors.
See, that's kind of the problem. It's really hard. When you do an anthology, the best anthologies are all directed by the same person.
Yes.
And when you throw in several different directors,
see, no, I don't necessarily agree there, because then you do something like Masters of Horror, which is
those are bite-sized individual. You're shown one at a time. They're not trying to assemble them together.
It's not Tales of the Crypt. Sure, I understand that.
That's something different. It's an anthology, but it's individual.
Yeah.
I'm thinking something more along the lines of Creep Show.
Sure.
What's Well, I'm already. There were a couple others I was thinking of, and they've all poofed out of my head. But Creepshow is enough of an example that I'm good.
But yeah, even people, Blade, P.D. Wheatstraw, which of course, let's face it, Lovecraft Country. That's actually one of the newer ones. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, unfortunately. But
it's funny. I think Lovecraft Country is going to be Trick or Treat. Thank you, Justin. That's exactly what I was thinking. Lovecraft Country, the series. I think that's unfortunately going to get buried because of what's his name. He was the king, the conqueror.
I got nothing. But it did tend to kind of flow under the radar. And
Jonathan Majors.
Ah, yes.
Jonathan Majors has had some bad behavior, and because he was, one of the feature stars of that show, I mean, it got the plug pulled after one season, but because of him, I think now it's just going to get buried.
That's disappointing, because I mean, it actually was a great premise, and the fact that they kept the tension and suspense throughout the whole thing on that even keel, and that's something that's really, really tough to do. So, I mean, what are everyone knows about Candyman, everyone knows about Blade. So, I mean, what, in your opinion, what are some of your favorite, like, black horror movies?
The first one I always go to is, and I every year we do this, I talk about it, but it's one of my favorite movies, Eve's Bayou.
Oh, yeah.
It's good Southern Gothic, about a little girl who basically thinks she killed her father, and this is the story. I love it.
Samuel L's in the movie, which is fantastic.
Yeah. And Angela Bassett as well as the adults. But I think that what really made that movie impressive is they actually got good child actors, because ultimately it's the child actors that carry that movie.
Mm-hmm. And that's a tough thing to do. Yeah.
It's so hard to find a halfway decent child actor. So the fact that they got, I can't remember how good the brother was, but there was two, the main character and her older sister, and they were good. They were good.
Yeah, this is actually a good question from Mo. What are your thoughts on the trope of black people always dying in them? I think it was a parody for a while, and I think now, because everything has become, I guess it's kind of come full circle. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there are like movies in there where it's like, okay, there's one white guy in them, and now the white guy dies.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, it wasn't meant to be a trope. It just came down to this.
Sure.
You wouldn't have black actors who are the main star of any movie. They
Unless
would not do
Romero,
that. As far as a mainstream movie, your lead actor had to be white.
Of course.
If you were not the lead actor in a horror movie, odds are you were going to die.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't necessarily that they just said, okay, we have a black person, we have to kill them.
No, it wasn't conscious, but still, it still became common enough to the point where it did become a trope and did become a parody. Because if there was a black guy in a horror movie, he was the expendable one. That would be one of the first ones killed off.
Yeah,
unless George Romero, but yeah.
Yeah, George Romero was the exception for like 30 years.
Absolutely, though.
He was the exception right up until LL Cool J.
Oh yeah. God, which Halloween was that?
Oh, was that H2O, or was Coolio in H2O?
That might be. Was it? I thought it was Busta Rhymes in H2O.
Was it Buster? Okay, it might have been Busta Rhymes.
I don't remember.
I didn't watch H2O, so.
Yeah, was there a movie?
Honestly, I will say this: after the first three, I don't like Halloween movies.
I just don't do like slasher franchises. They bore me. They're just so formulaic.
Well, okay, so
yes,
now here's a great point.
Absolutely does count.
Justin,
yes.
here's the thing. When you look at black horror, first of all, because in the 70s, black actors couldn't even be the best friend most of the time.
Exactly.
So that's where you have all the blaxploitation movies come in, like Sugar Hill, which is a fantastic movie.
My favorite. I was going to say, I bring that up every time.
It's a voodoo horror movie.
It's a proper voodoo film.
Yeah. But you had that was their role in the 70s and the 80s, and so you had the blaxploitation film. Then there was backlash towards the end of the 70s, so they go away. And then back in the 90s, they kind of come back, but more as hip hop themed movies. And so we have Leprechaun in the Hood, we have Death by Temptation, we have it was the anthology movie, Tales from the Hood.
Yeah, Tales from the Hood.
And so, that's Leprechaun does count as far as people surviving. I'll say that.
But and then of course then the other one that I always recommend, and like I said, supernatural horror is always my thing. Serpent in the Rainbow. And I think that's a movie that absolutely holds up. And nowadays, well, first of all, don't fuck with Haitians. Don't. I lived in Miami for 20 years. Do not fuck with Haitians. No. But even with like the special effects and such, it's still so fucking frightening. I mean, let's just think of the scene with the chair. That's all I'm gonna say. Absolutely frightening. Serpent in the Rainbow is still terrifying.
Oh fuck! I'd forgotten about that. Goddamn.
Uh-huh.
Oh
yeah. You are not going to Haiti in April.
Is it
Mo,
part
you're
of
not
the
going to
mission?
Haiti.
Oh dear.
Did we find out Mo was a serial killer and he's being punished by being sent to Haiti? Oof, we're gonna talk, dude. We are gonna talk because But I mean, even the first one that I saw as a little girl, and Planet Blaxploitation, but Blacula, and I think that Blacula in the early '70s was probably one of the first black movies to get a lot of people's attention.
Blacula was great. Blacula, he had all sorts of. He carried himself with an air, man.
And and I've always been curious. And now that I think about it, I kind of want to see that remade as opposed to Candyman. But I think
As opposed to Vampire in Brooklyn.
I think Blacula in the right hands, I think they could do a really good job.
Well, here's an interesting little note, and I don't know if it's happening, but if anyone is familiar with Blade, the new Blade that Marvel's like trying to put together with, is it Marshall Ali who's going to be playing Blade this time?
That I don't know. They've
been talking about Wesley Snipes playing Dracula.
Wait, but Wesley Snipes or Wesley Snipes type?
Type. No, But yeah, they talked about Wesley Snipes playing Dracula for that, and I don't know if that happened. They shelved that. It's not going on. That's too bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know, and I think a lot of people don't realize that it's not just Jordan Peele. Yes, Jordan Peele did absolutely catapulted black horror into the spotlight now. Now, one of the things, and I was doing a TikTok live earlier, and they made a good point. I think one of the things that Jordan Peele does, unfortunately, every single movie he does, there has to be a social commentary message with it. And I think maybe that's probably eventually going to be his downfall, because sometimes we want to watch horror movies. We don't want it to be relatable. We just want to watch a horror movie to escape. So, I mean, everything from Us to Ma to Nope to, and he did Twilight Zone apparently, and that was like panned across the board.
Yeah, I mean, I think it did okay. I think the first season did not watch it though, so I can't say. But it lasted 2 years, so it wasn't. Yeah, sometimes you can just have something in the background and let people figure it out on their own. I agree with that.
Exactly, and that not every message needs to come with a sermon. Agreed. And unfortunately, I do think Jordan Peele does tend to get a little hand heavy with that. So, I mean, what about you guys? What are some of your favorite black horror movies?
I will definitely say I liked Tales from the Hood. That was, for the more modern ones, that was great.
Yeah.
I know you talked about it earlier on TikTok, but the Black Exorcist movie,
Abby. Yes.
Abby's pretty damn good.
Y'all need to look up Abby. If you want just absolute fun, what the fuck kind of movie, let's just say Disco Exorcist.
It's not that bad. It's not that disco.
No, it's hilarious. It's awesome. Actually, if Babette Bombshell recommends it, it's a movie you need to go to see.
Well, Abby's worth watching. And it's basically, and I think it got shut down by the producers of The Exorcist by being too similar.
Yeah. Because of my background, I'm just making a list of all the movies y'all are mentioning. Absolutely. Well, you know what? I mean, and this is current, but for those of you that are actually watching Interview with the Vampire and are rabid fans like I am, Jacob Anderson, a lot of people were very concerned when Interview with the Vampire was being made, because they're just like, oh, you're making, Louis a black guy now, so now all of a sudden it's woke. And I had a lot of trepidation going in too. I thought they were going to be doing the preachy thing, and but no, it absolutely makes sense. It's fantastic. They got robbed at the fucking Emmys, which is a whole thing in and of itself, because I know they don't do horror stuff. But Jacob Anderson in Interview with the Vampire, holy shit. I
Yeah,
think that should
no,
definitely be on everyone's list.
it was
Especially
that was an amazing
Bailey
show. It was like
Bass.
the
Bailey
best.
Bass as Claudia. Oh,
That was the best TV show I saw of, I don't know about last year or the year before, whenever it came out, but that was really damn good.
yeah. So I mean, that's live action Little Mermaid's historically accurate and works. Absolutely.
I'll take your word on it.
Absolutely.
I haven't seen it. This day, I don't know if I've actually seen the animated Little Mermaid either, though. I
Really?
know I've seen big pieces of it. I've seen most of it, but I have not actually sat there and watched the Little Mermaid from start to end.
Huh. Well, then you have to think about, Sebastian, since he's Jamaican, Just saying, just saying. People Under the Stairs. Now there's a good one.
I wouldn't have put it
But
in that
here's okay, but
category.
that's the whole thing. And this is where we differentiate between movies that have black people in them as opposed to black horror movies.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
Now, what's the distinction there in your opinion?
I think it's more about who's making the movie rather than who's in the movie.
Okay.
It's like who's the driving force getting the movie created.
I suppose that's true.
Is
Yeah.
it who's the director? I mean, that's why people went nuts over Jordan Peele directing.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing. But who knew Jordan Peele was actually a horror fan?
I'll admit that was one of the strangest transitions from Key and Peele, which I love.
Yeah, that's still, even when I see Key and Peele, it still doesn't really click.
So
Let's see, Tales from the Hood, Blacula, and if you like Blacula, Scream, and then God,
don't watch Blackenstein though. Blackenstein's actually
that
very
was
good.
okay. I was gonna say I knew there was a Black Frankenstein. I couldn't remember Blackenstein. Okay.
Yeah, Blackenstein, not good. Not good.
They say Blade, and then of course we have all the Jordan Peele stuff. JD's Revenge. I don't know what that is.
Black Christmas, not a black horror movie.
No. And the list that I'm looking at, I should have taken notes because I mean there's a lot more out there, but
well, I'll give you one. And I'm gonna actually give it the animated version over.
Oh yeah, the original Spawn, absolutely great
Spawn,
one.
yeah. Mo, it's funny. I was actually gonna say that. No, the animated Spawn series on HBO, that was friggin' amazing. And I'm just reading Justin's comment. Yeah, no, I wouldn't consider Day of the Dead a black horror movie. Main character is black, that's true, but that's kind of where it begins and ends, and that's just a case where your main character was he even really the main character? That was such an ensemble movie. It's hard to say that.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. But I mean, and I'll recommend it 50 million times. That it's a difficult movie to track down, but Sugar Hill.
Definitely watch Sugar Hill. That's it's funny. A lot of those blaxploitation films are really hampered by very, very small budgets.
Mm-hmm.
They made it completely work. They still pulled it off.
It is interesting though because you do see Night of the Living Dead on a lot of lists, and it's like, okay, yeah, there was a black actor, but you have to remember how controversial it was back then. Not only to have a black actor in such a role, but have him be the hero in such a role. I mean, nobody had ever done that before. So I mean,
it's actually, I'll tell you, something interesting was that movie was also so controversial because the hero is killed at the end, which does not happen back then. That was like the rarest thing in a horror movie where they sent that audience home going, "What the fuck?"
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone thought, "Oh, the hero made it out alive," and then no, not the case. Because of that, I think it still overshadowed the fact that your main character was the black hero, because people were just like, what did we see?
Mm-hmm. But it is interesting. I mean, Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead. I mean, obviously George Romero put black people in his movies in roles that, not just the expendable friend and such. So you do have to wonder, that is an argument. Do you actually put those on because they're pioneers on black movie lists as opposed to,
I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's all opinion.
Sure. But that's why we do this. And that's why it's, especially, during Black History Month, it's like, black horror is an actual, not just an actual thing, but a lot of people ignore it, and a lot of people don't really give it the credit that credit is due.
I will say this: if you
Ooga
really,
booga. What the fuck is an ooga booga? You're an ooga booga.
I was gonna say when you look at the original Candyman movies, I can't remember if it was the first 3 or 4 before they're actually worth watching, and they do tell a really amazing stories.
Yes.
I haven't seen the remake from a couple years ago. I know a lot of people really like it. Some people think it's awful.
I've heard nothing but bad things, to be honest.
I remember a lot of people were really impressed with it at the end.
Okay.
But I mean, I think, although I will say this, I think a lot of the initial reaction was positive. As time goes on, I'm hearing more and more negative about it.
Okay.
So,
and we've said it before, and we'll say it again because it's still, serpent in the rainbow. Oh, and okay. But to be fair, okay, if we're gonna do that, then I suppose trilogy.
No, the Zuni doll does not count.
It's an African doll,
No. Karen and Jessica. Okay, look, there's a Zuni doll, and the actress is Karen Black. That's not black horror.
But if it's an African voodoo doll, which is what it is, and it comes to life, I'm just saying,
no,
it kind of falls into a slightly gray area.
Nope.
No. Okay.
Nope. I veto.
Oh, veto. Okay, executive veto, huh?
How about have any of you seen the Snoop Dogg horror movie?
I was about to say Bones. Yeah.
Yeah, where
I
he
keep
plays
seeing advertisements for it, but no.
Yeah, I just at the end of the day, I'm like, I think that movie came out. Hold on, when did that movie come out? 2001. Yeah, that was a point in my life where, like, I don't have a ton of money to spend on movies. I'm not gonna pay to see one with Snoop Dogg.
Oh, okay, Mo. So there's the distinction. A black med student's soul is transferred to the doll. Okay, so kind of like Chucky, but black. Got it. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Huh. But yeah, if you guys have any recommendations, like Ooga Booga, which I'm actually very curious about now. Why not?
I don't think I want to see a movie called Ooga Booga.
You have to, just to be able to say, I saw Ooga Booga. Besides, Ooga Booga are two of the most fun words to say to begin with.
All right. How about here's our next job, everybody. Next episode, you have to watch Vampires versus the Bronx.
No. Well, anyways, I was going to start saying about Horror Noir, the anthology that I saw. The first story, and yes, spoiler alert, but this really isn't worth anything anyway. The first one was you saw it started out with a flashback in like 2004 or whatever, and they're dredging the lake, and there's 2 dead bodies out of the lake, and like a priest and a little girl, whatever. So then you fast forward, and then of course there's this woman by herself moving to a house by the lake. Big surprise. And then, of course, we've got the creepy fisherman that's nearby. Oh, don't swim in the lake. So sure enough, what does she do? So they're just within the first 10 minutes, you're like, all right, I need to see The Blackening. Thank you, Mo. I had to interrupt that. But no, I need to see The Blackening because I still haven't seen that. I need to see that. We have to see if Matt has that on Plex. But so sure enough, and then the teacher's got a past, and because of this, shady past of hers, the lake is calling to her. And as she goes swimming, she gets webbed fingers, and you see gills start to appear, and then she ends up attacking a couple of high school kids, whatever. Really stupid and dumb. The second one was it was an interesting concept because it was in an impoverished neighborhood where there was an artist that was doing a mural. And so they're doing like this community outreach thing and, feeding the homeless, stuff like that, about, the Black community coming together, blah, blah, blah. And then there was, you saw this really weird white guy across the street. And then so this muralist gets a phone call from a very, very white guy saying, look, I'll give you $1,000 if you can get me this image by sunset. Because I love your work, da, 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 da. I want you to make this image for me. Turns out what it was, the guy, unbeknownst to him, he was creating neo-Nazi symbols that were being used in like black magic rituals in order to claim souls. So I'm like, that's actually a really interesting premise. Unfortunately, it got really dumb, and then there was this big dumb devil and this stupid big fat white guy, and then it just everybody died, and it was just stupid. So it was a good idea. I think that's something that could be made into a full-length horror movie. But there's nothing that probably, as a horror fan, irritates you more than when you really get into an idea and then they just drop the football and fuck it all up. So yeah, horror noir the second, no. The first one, yes.
Justin, I got to tell you, I don't know the movie you're referring to. If I ever saw it, I've erased it from my mind, and I'm going to leave it that way.
Yeah, but now I am curious about the blackening. I'm actually probably going to look that up tonight. Thank you for reminding me of that, Abo.
Yeah, no, that was actually on my list for a while too. So we'll have to check that out.
I'll have to look that up. All right, so I think that's about it that we have for this episode. Other than just talking about black stuff, because you're black.
I am.
You are. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Blah blah blah. Attack the Black. Sure, that too. So there you go, and fuck you.